hideous, grotesque, always carrying some sort of questionable liquid. But enough about me. Today I want to give you 10 reasons why the absolutely fantastic looking Lavos Prime should become your new main frame in Warframe. When I first played Lavos, I didn't really know what I was actually doing. His abilities just didn't seem to make sense to me, and he felt kind of underwhelming. But as it turns out, Lavos wasn't the problem. I was. At first glance, his kit can seem a bit complicated, but once you really get into the weeds of how he works, you'll soon see that he actually has one of, if not the best design kits in Warframe. Before we take a look at some builds and abilities, allow me to share with you lucky viewers 10 reasons why I believe you should become a Lavos main. Number 1. Lavos doesn't use energy. Instead, he relies entirely on his ability cooldowns, meaning you never need to worry about running out of energy. Number 2. He can imbue almost any element into his abilities and his weapons when modded correctly, meaning you can always use the most effective element against any enemy in your mission. Number 3. He has huge nuking potential. We'll talk about this more later on, but Lavos' 4th ability's damage scales based on the number of unique statuses affecting an enemy. Stack them up and watch them pop. Number 4. He almost never runs out of primary ammo. Lavos can convert ammo drops into universal ammo drops, meaning that secondary ammo will also give you primary ammo, and vice versa. Number 5. Lavos is one sturdy boy, rocking high amounts of base health and armor, in addition to self-healing abilities, meaning he's one tough nut to crack. Number 6. Having the ability to easily apply status effects grants him the unique ability to easily apply crowd control too. Too many enemies? Just freeze them. Want to start a bar fight? Imbue your abilities and weapons with radiation. Number 7. Are you fed up of those energy drain nightmare mode missions? Or maybe those energy reduction sorties? Or perhaps even those kill 500 Scaldra with only abilities 1999 calendar missions? Well, I used to be too, but then I became a Lavos main and those problems are all behind me now. Number 8. Snakes. That's it, he has snakes. Number 9. Both the standard and prime versions look absolutely amazing, and by adding attachments to either version of the frame, you can completely change how this frame looks. And number 10. Lavos' gameplay loop just seems to scratch an itch you probably didn't know you had. You're literally firing off status effects left, right and centre, zooming around the map, chucking all kinds of questionable goop all over the place, and you don't need to worry about your energy. He's just all-round great fun to play. Now, if you're still here watching, I'm going to assume that I've sold you on this truly incredible frame and you want to know more. But just before we take a quick look at what makes Lavos different to other Warframes, please feel free to drop this video a like if you've enjoyed it so far, as it really helps the channel grow. Anyway, the biggest difference is how ability efficiency and ability duration affect him. Lavos is an energyless frame, meaning his abilities don't require energy to cast, and so the only thing stopping him from spam casting his abilities are his cooldowns. Ability efficiency instead reduces the cooldown duration of his 3rd ability, Transmutation Probe. We'll talk about this more in just a moment, but this ability in itself can reduce the cooldown of all other abilities. Ability duration also increases the status effect duration caused by Lavos' imbued weapons or abilities, in addition to its usual increase to ability durations. Let's start to take a look at Lavos' abilities so we can make sense of all of this. Whoa, hold up a second. Before we go any further, I think now will be a good time to highlight an absolutely life-changing setting that you should make before playing Lavos. Go to the settings and invert his abilities. This will swap the hold and tap behaviour of your abilities. Obviously this is a preference thing, but let's talk a bit about Lavos' passive and I'll explain why this change made such a big difference to me. Lavos' passive consists of 2 parts. Firstly, energy and universal orbs grant status immunity for 10 seconds, which is super nice for boosting his overall survivability in the Steel Path. But the second part of this passive is where the magic really starts to happen. You can hold any ability to imbue the next cast with additional elemental damage and status. This means that by default, holding any of your 4 abilities imbues the next ability cast with either Toxin, Cold, Electricity, or Heat statuses, based on the ability you chose to hold. You can mix your base statuses together to create Corrosive or Viral, or any of the other combination statuses. This not only helps you spread status effects across enemies much easier, but also doubles the initial applied damage of the ability. You'll be imbuing elements into your abilities pretty much every cast, and it's a really important part of Lavos' gameplay loop. By inverting your ability controls from hold to tap, his kit starts to feel far less clunky and will make gameplay feel much smoother. Let's take a look at his first ability. Ophidian Bite lashes out at nearby enemies with a toxic serpentine strike. In short, this ability hits multiple targets in a cone in front of you, applies a toxin status effect to enemies hit by the ability, and recovers 15% health for each enemy hit. Holding or tapping, if you've inverted your controls like I have, will imbue your next ability with the toxin element. Ophidian Bite has a powerful augment mod called Swift Bite. This augment reduces ability cooldowns by 4 seconds when at least 4 enemies are hit, in addition to granting Ophidian Bite a 30% boost to ability range. Ideally, you want to hit as many enemies as possible with this ability to spread status effects, regain the maximum amount of health possible, and, if Swift Bite is equipped, help reduce those cooldowns. Lavos' second ability is Vial Rush. Vial Rush turns you into some sort of speed skater and launches you forward at a near uncontrollable speed, leaving behind an icy trail of broken vials. The pools left on the floor behind you will deal constant cold damage to any enemies stood inside of it, in addition to applying cold status effects and the status effects of the imbued element. As before, holding or tapping this ability will imbue your abilities with cold. Jumping will also cancel the dashing animation and will cause all of your vials to launch around you in a circle instead. Lavos' third ability is Transmutation Probe. Now listen up, because this ability does a few different things. Activating this ability launches a probe in a straight line in front of you. Any health or energy orbs this probe touches are converted into a universal orb. Universal orbs provide a 50-50 split of health and energy when collected. In a similar fashion, any ammo this probe touches will be converted into a universal ammo pickup, once again providing a 50-50 split of primary and secondary ammo. Enemies touched by the probe are electrocuted, applying an electric status effect which briefly stuns, as well as reducing all cooldowns by 1.5 seconds per enemy electrocuted. Holding or tapping the ability will imbue your abilities with electric. Lavos' fourth and certainly most destructive ability is Catalyze. Catalyze launches probes in every direction, dousing enemies hit in fiery gel and applying heat status effects. This ability also does 2000 base damage, is affected by ability strength, and its damage doubles for every unique elemental status affecting the target. Let's use this infested enemy as an example. Without any statuses affecting him, we do 2000 damage. With a single status, we now do 4000 damage, and with 2 status effects, we now do 8000, and so on. Considering how easy it is to spread status effects, you can probably see now why Lavos can clear a room faster than a match in a methane factory. Holding the ability or tapping with inverted controls will imbue your abilities with heat. So now the abilities are out of the way, let's take a look at how we can build Lavos. To kick things off, we need to talk about what I would consider to be the single most important augment mod in pretty much any Lavos build that you might see. That mod is called Valence Formation. When Valence Formation is equipped, casting an ability imbued with extra elemental damage applies that element as a 200% bonus to your primary, secondary, and melee weapons with a guaranteed status for 20 seconds. That's kinda crazy. This mod literally allows you to mod your weapons to match enemy weaknesses on the fly. You could run a viral weapon and imbue it with corrosive to completely melt Grineer, or switch between magnetic and heat and crossfire exterminate missions. The possibilities are endless. This mod is key for the majority of Lavos builds you'll see, and really opens him up to becoming one of the most versatile frames in the game. Next, we have Steel Fiber. Lavos has a pretty great base amount of armor, so this gives him a massive boost to his survivability. Swift Bite I've briefly mentioned already and further helps ability cooldown and Ophidian Bite range. Archon Continuity increases ability duration and allows Ophidian Bite to also apply a stack of corrosive to an enemy, meaning it's easier to start stacking up those status effects even faster. Archon Vitality provides health for more sustainability and will cause heat status effects caused by abilities to apply twice. Blind Rage to improve ability strength. Stretch to increase ability range, as I like to hit as many enemies as possible. And in the last slot and the Aura slot, we have Mecha Empowered and Mecha Pulse. Having a Mecha mod equipped allows your equipped companion to mark an enemy target every 45 seconds. Killing the marked target will cause all status effects affecting the marked target to spread to all other enemies in a 15-meter radius. The Mecha Empowered mod allows the squad to deal 150% more damage to the marked enemy, and the Mecha Pulse mod increases your armor by 60% for 20 seconds for each enemy within 30 meters of the slain marked enemy. Just as a quick note on these mods, you must have a Kubro or Predecite companion equipped in order to use the marked target set bonus. For Arcanes, we have Molt augmented to improve ability strength, and Arcane Blessing to increase max health and further improve survivability. The beauty of Lavos is that there's no one correct way to build him. This build is what I run, and personally I find it safe, fun and super capable. Give it a try, and let me know how you would improve it in the comments below. Taking a quick look at the Helminth, and more specifically Archon Shards, I personally run 2 red ability duration and 2 red ability strength, and 1 yellow cast speed. Definitely look into Topaz or Emerald Shards if you have them. Unfortunately, I don't. For a companion, as long as you're using either a Kubro or Predecite companion, you should be okay. The Mecha mod set bonus only applies to these 2 companion types. I would also suggest making your companions as tanky as possible, as a dead companion can't mark enemies. I also feel like I should quickly mention Lavos' signature weapon Cedo. You can obviously use whatever weapon you choose, but Cedo does have a built-in condition overload bonus, meaning damage scales based on how many unique statuses are affecting the target, in addition to having an alternate fire that applies status effects whilst bouncing around to nearby enemies. It's almost like his signature weapon was made for him. I've pretty much played Lavos solely since the announcement of his Prime variant, and I have to say that he is well and truly one of my favourite frames to play right now. I'd love to know your thoughts on him. What do you think of his kit? How did you build him? And what do you think of his Prime skin? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one, Tenno.